Okay, so this is a 4.0 Cimc access, which I was talking about. This is a normally UCS server. If I go for the username password, should be admin, not sure. Admin. Okay, so let's use this password. So this is totally a new GUI interface, for 4.0. It's a bit confusing, but it's pretty much, clean than your 3. Or 2.0 interface of CIMC, right? And meanwhile, let me open the which interface. I think this is ACI or not. ACI prod. Which interface I'm going to use for the. Just give me a second. Okay, so this is the page for the new 4.0 is your CIMC, okay, which is pretty much cool. You have pretty much all the dashboard information for the events login and utilization and chassis status and all. You do not need to find anywhere, right? You have something ping option, CIMC reboot, refresh, host power. So here you can check further action like inventory tab. Just tabs are similar. I think one tab is added, which is compute tab, right? And so this is pretty much that, right? If you'll go for the all the details here, all the details you will get here. Which week we are using this. There is different types of week. Okay, this is 24 gig week. If you're going with the 24 gig, it means you have to use 24 gig interface between Leaf and Spine, Leaf and the APIC. Okay, if you have 10 gig, that in that case you have to use 10 gig interface. Okay, this is the MLOM card.
How do we know of the weak adapter?
So let me show that APIC installation guide. So here you can check that what kind of adapter we have. We have it fiber cable and normal cable. Let me show that. There is two types of cable. Okay, one is RJ45 one and second is fiber one. This is the one I think. Let me show that. LDP should be disabled V-neck label, right? As we were talking about that. And if I talk about fabric setup, just give me a second. There should be the proper information of the interfaces. So yeah, there is only two types of cable. Either you can use RJ45, okay, copper cable and fiber cable, okay. It depends on the VNIC, which WIC you are using for the here. Based on this, you can identify that. Okay. So yeah, so these are the information which you can gather from here. And if you go for the normal compute, you will get normal what kind of RAID we are using, what is the BIOS version we are using here. All this management label and troubleshoot power policy and all the basic information. This is just some giving overview. This is not pretty much important, but at least we should know that. Here we get the LLDP. We were talking about, right, that here we have, look here, it's disabled, right?
By default, it's disabled.
Yep.
Yes.
By default, it's disabled. The moment you enable, you will lose your connectivity. Okay. And there will be only VNIC support. Okay, we do not have any VHBA and all the support for the your APIC here. Okay, this is the trunk port. You can see here trunk port, which we have. We do not support any VHBA as of now for the between Leaf and the APIC, right? There is interface, but we do not support that. Okay. Okay, so this was the normal 4.0 overview. Let me log in actual page. Just give me a second. It is. Just give me a second. Preview. Okay. I'm going to use this, and this gonna be. I mean, 1, 2, 3. This is a pretty much new one. Okay, so in 4.0 we have something called v port support as well. Okay, if we let's before that I'm going to talk about that basic interfaces of APIC. Okay, so there is a tab, something we call it system tab, where you check all the APIC related APIC cluster related information as well as some of the global configuration. Okay, here in the
Okay.
system tab. In the tenant tab, just like a BDC VRF, okay? It is a tenant represent one simple logical domain. It represent, you can say it's a service provider, separate service provider, okay? So in ACI, we can create more than 1,000. It depend which version you are using. Different version has different uh, uh, limitation, okay? Some of the version does support 2,000, some of the version support 3,000 tenants, some of the version support 500. Okay, it depends how what is the requirement, but I think as of now so far only 5 to 6 tenant any customer deploy, a maximum 10 to 12 you have, right? If you have this wide up tenant, you can say also BDC.
Yes.
Okay, just like the legacy network here. In the fabric tab you configure all the fabric configuration between leaf and spine configuration, and southbound interface of the leaf configuration, like the VLAN configuration and the port configuration and the policy configuration, what should be enabled, whether this port should run LLDP, CDP, or should enable the STP, or port channel should run, it should be part of the PPC. What will be the these kind of, this will be the total fabric configuration, okay, between, this is the port level configuration between leaf and spine and leaf and the
Mm.
int host, okay, where you configure it. So this is the physical configuration, this is the logical configuration, you can say that. Okay, so first, before
Yes.
going for the tenant configuration, fabric should be the logical configuration, physical configuration should be up. Okay,
Okay.
again network virtualization is again optional, like you are if you are integrating the your VMM domain EXXI with the ACI, or Microsoft hypervisor with the ACI, or Stack, you are integrating Red Hat. These kind of
Mm.
virtual services, hypervisor services, which if you want to integrate, that falls under the VMM networking or virtual networking. You
Okay.
can. L4L7 again, if you have the requirement for all the firewall and the load balancer, you can go under the L4L7, do it. It's not
Mhm.
optional. Optional means you can configure from this tab, or without even going into this tab, you can configure it. Okay, there is two options.
Okay.
If you are configuring using this tab, it means you are using the manage mode. Manage mode means ACI will be the response. ACI will be the responsible to configure your all the load balancer and the firewalls, which is something we call it manage mode. Okay, full
Mhm.
automation will be done by the Cisco APIC here. If you are not using these tabs, okay, L4 and 7 services or VMM domain, it means that service going to be unmanaged mode, and your ACI will not manage those services. Okay, you can
Okay. But
yeah.
there will be an integration with the firewall and the load balancers, but the gateway will not be the AC the
It
ACI.
can
You mean?
be, it cannot be in a both the case. Okay, it can be L2, it can be L3. Like similar, simple, you can connect as L3 out, right? Just a router.
Yeah.
Just keep
Mhm.
the L3 out, or you can configure like a BD as a gateway, just an endpoint, just like an endpoint you can connect, right? So
Okay.
this is the optional, as the option itself says here is optional. Okay, admin tab here where you perform all the tasks like the backups and the upgrades and all the schedulers and all the kind of security labels and API labels configuration. So this falls under the admin. Okay, operation is again for the troubleshooting. Okay, if you want to find a particular IP address in the network or in the ACI fabric, Go under the operation tab, use that particular source or destination IP. It will give you the path, exact path. This is IP which is coming from this path, or from this leaf, from this VLAN, from this tenant, from this EPG. Okay, this is information.
Okay.
So like I said that this is the let me log into that here. Yep. So this is the system tab. In the 4.0, they added two more tab, app tab and integration tab. Okay,
Okay.
these are the two tab which are added here. So in the admin system tab, you can see a dashboard, right? In the dashboard, you can see health check and all the status of the APICs here, all the things you can get it, all the status of the even leaf and spines and get it. Even the tenant health check you can get it from here. Okay.
Okay.
So in the 4.0, they written here healthy. In the prior to 4.0, there was some percentage, like here is showing 98%, right? So there was some column
Yeah.
like 98% is field, if it is blue or yellow or it is orange. So there is a color coding like here, right? Critical or major and minor or just warning, right? So these are
Okay.
the basic dashboard information, utility information from the system tab. In the system tab, such as we have called it controllers, where you get APIC controller information. Okay, what is the APIC topology? Where is connecting? What is the leaf? What is the port number? You can get from the controller system tab. Okay, all the APIC related information, such as what is the memory. Something. Suppose your one RAM is failed or one hard disk is failed, right? Where you will check that in the system tab controller you will check it. So I have here like something have three controller right here. You can click here, you can get it here, all the information. You can get here the leaf names and all. Look here, right?
Okay.
So these are the few information which you can get that. Even you can save the layout, graphs and all. If you go for the individual status check here, so this is the three APIC. You can go under the one APIC one by one. You can check the all the environment related information or interface related information, storage, up process, memory, all these things. Even the cluster health, all the things you can check it from. Apart from dashboard tab, you can check from here. This is the one-to-one device configuration, and there is a global picture. Okay, you can say that. So look here, these are the information which you have, right? We do not have any standby here. Like what interface we are using here.
Okay.
You can click on the interface and get the information here, right? Here. And what is the storage? What is the RAID mode we are using? How much drive is free? Suppose your var is external temp var is full, right? In that case, you will not able to do any kind of a backup configuration, right? So before setting the backup, you can check that what is the storage we have here. Accordingly, look here, temp file. Temp file means all the tech support, not tech support, all the backups while doing the changes, all files save under the temp folder. Okay, so you can check the these pretty much all the information.
Mhm.
These same information you can check from the CLI even. Just type the dir of boot flash. It will give you all the same information. Okay,
Okay.
but the same information you can get it from the GUI interface. You do not need to check. This is the actual better picture here. Similar health for the
Okay.
equipment you can get it from here. Okay, and the
Now
power.
this storage, it is showing for specific epic. It is showing or
It is a specific
which
APIC,
internet
not
which
for the global.
storage actually this is.
It is a specific to
Okay.
APIC
This
here.
is
So
okay.
each leaf, each APIC is a separate device. Okay, it is separate appliance.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want
Yeah.
to
Okay.
check the global label, I don't think it will. That's why we have a controller, right? It will distribute the data between the three APIC. Suppose APIC 1 drive is almost full. APIC 3 will share the database, right? This is why we have clustering here. It should load balance, right?
Yes.
Even if suppose
Mhm.
all the APIC is fine and you create something backup, you can create the one backup in the any of the your APIC device. If storage is free, it will distribute across the APIC controllers. for the security or for the redundancy purpose, right? If suppose one APIC is down, what what about
Mhm.
your storage, right? It going to interrupt, right?
Yes.
So it should be distributed. If suppose if you can observe here, this log file is 27%, right? A firmware is
Yes.
22%. If we'll check in the site one, sorry, it's epic one, what is the percentage of that? If we'll check that,
Yes, it's less.
look here, it's the same, right? It means same file is
Yes.
replicating into the across the APIC cluster, right?
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, these are the some of the basic information. We'll give more information on that. Okay, and this is just an overview of the APIC dashboard, and you can directly, if suppose you have problem with the your APIC, right? One APIC or your
Yeah.
APIC cluster, why you will take support from all the here, right? You can go here and collect the tech support here, a core file, whatever you have here. Okay,
Okay.
you can create it from here for a particular APIC node. And system tab is again is global configuration like kube configuration, right? Like MTU configuration, but this is the leaf and spine configuration between leaf and spine. Okay, this is the global
Okay.
configuration. You cannot do this configuration for any specific leaf on any specific spine switch, right? This is the all global configuration. By
Yeah.
default, what method use for the load balancing between leaf and spine? Because we have anyway, if you have two spine, we use two leaf port, right? So what actual method
Yes.
used by the spine switches for the load balancing? You can do that GTS load balancing. You by default, what load balancing it use? You can check here. Is it traditional? I think it's a
It is showing traditional. Yeah.
round robin, if I'm not wrong. If you want to priority based load
Hmm.
balancing this kind of, you can even enable it. Okay, but this
Hmm.
option is not going to be it because I do not have access, admin access proper. Okay,
Okay.
and here is the NTP configuration. Again, for the your leaf and spine. Okay, if you do not have external NTP, you can enable it here. Okay, as per your dashboard and network, it will automatically sync. Okay, and here is your date and time, local format here. Just give me a second. Yep. So these are the kube information. Like there is two more compatible types and restrict mode. By default is restrict mode. Sorry, by default it give the compatible mode. Okay. So compatible mode means we do not need any authentication or particularly thing to discover the leaf switches from spine switch. Okay, if you put the restrict mode here, it means you have to install the particularly authentication key in order to establish the communication between leaf and spine. Okay, this is the leaf and spine based security. Okay,
Okay.
like here we have already have that.
So that will be the CLI side.
Yes, from CLI we do that key configuration. Or from the GUI
Box by
itself you
box.
can do. Yep, box by box, one by one we have to do it. Okay, and here is a route refactor we can configure from here. Okay, is you can see that it's a private address which leaf spine 1 spine 2 is our route refactor. Okay, so pretty much all the global information between leaf and spine you can control it from here. Okay, and this is AES passphrase which is we use for that virtual epic. Okay, and which we'll talk about that. We have something called virtual epic where you have if you have a small production, right, like one two switches,
Uh-huh.
why you will go for three epic purchase? You can purchase one epic as a physical epic and one you can purchase one server and you can install a two virtual epic, right? That's a VM actually. So
Yeah.
and they can work like the same way.
Yes.
So So this is the new feature which is going to introduce in 4.0. Okay.
Okay.
And this is again
So
connectivity
it is
information.
just we can install on any box,
Any box, any box,
what do you say?
any
Any box,
hypervisor you can say.
any hypervisor. Yes.
Yeah. And what is the preferred mode for the APIC connectivity? I am using the out of band. So in APIC, we call it in band and out of band, both access we have. Okay. In band means creating the layer 3 out and providing these all the information. Okay. Access through all the network. Yeah. But
Okay.
suppose you have the big infrastructure like 200 leaf or more than 200 leaf per pod, more than 100 leaf per pod. So usually we do not configure as a out of band, right? Because if you're going for the out of band, you need separate 100 cable if you have 100 leaf and spine, right? To provide the out of band connection for the leaf and
Yes.
spine. In the in band connection, you do not need
There will
that
be
kind of
separate switch to manage it, right?
exactly. That's out of band is totally just like a legacy network. You need to have one separate switch, a separate interface, a cable. But in band
Mhm.
case is totally
And we can
different.
have we can have out of band connectivity to our leaf and spine architecture using any Nexus switch, or it should be Nexus 9K.
Out of band external switch you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, it can be any catalyst switch, Nexus switch, anything. It can be even a L2 switch, any third party switch. It's not prerequisite.
Okay.
Okay, it's just a kind of hub device which will act as a a port expansion device or fax device. It will act as right because you got to have the 100 port
Okay.
here, right? So yeah, so these are the system setting. If you go for the licensing, so here we have evaluation license. If you are aware about the Nexus evaluation license, right? So we
Yeah.
have something called evaluation license for 90 days or 120 days something. Okay. Then we have different type of license.
Already
Like we
expired.
have advanced license we have, and we if you're going for the some extra micro segmentation, remote leaf, there is extra feature which you want to achieve, then you have to go for the smart license.
Mhm.
There you just click it here, put the
Okay.
username password, it will automatically sync with the Cisco cloud and it will give you the it will sync the license from there. Okay, if you can
Okay.
click your license overview, you can get here. There is 4 type of license here, right?
Base essential advantage. Okay.
So essential what feature you are getting and what advantage feature you are getting, so you can get it here. So these are like multi-site. If you want to enable, you have to go for advanced one, right?
Multi-site distributed.
If you're going remotely,
Okay.
if you have to go for it. If you're going multi-port, is even essential is fine, right? You can do it. And these are the some of the limitation I would say. Even if you want to add the fax in a network, you will have to go with the advantage license, right? Or add-on license.
Okay.
There is separate license we call it.
Mhm.
If you want to achieve max sec feature for the line card, so you have to go for the security add-on license. Okay, so if you're going for the FCOE, FC feature enable, you have to go for a storage license. So there is many types of license. Okay, advanced is also known as a smart license. Okay, advantage.
Okay.
Okay, it is clear.
Yeah.
So usually, small production go for base and the essential level license. Just L3 out and L4 and 7 services API. That's it.
Yes.
Even base license is not bad, right? You are getting a lot of feature here, micro segmentation, trust sake, role
Yeah.
based
Most of the
access.
features we are getting it on.
Exactly. If you're not going for multi-site and all the facts on the things, definitely you should go for this instead of base license is also fine. So I'll always consider as a base license because we do not really need that multi-site. We have the essential license for the multi-port. You can do it until unless you have something specific requirement. Okay.
Generally, for the DR, only two data centers we have.
Mhm.
Uh, One data center, another one is DR. So multi-pod will be enough, right?
It depends. If you have data center within the same region, you can go for the multi-port. If you have, suppose, one data center in India, one data center in uh, your Qatar side or Dubai side, in that case, you will go with the multi-site concept here. Okay,
Okay.
so it
Let's say
depends.
within in India, if you have one
Geographical,
in
yeah,
Mumbai, one
geographical
in
location is
Hyderabad.
also matter. Right, right. Geographical location is also matter here. Okay, if you go for learn about the licensing and all, you can Google it, and it just say attached here. Just click on it, will automatically give you even the steps. Okay, so these are the few things
Okay.
where you can product names and all the things you can get. You can request from here only. So this is the fault dashboard. What all the fault we have in the network here. Okay. Oh, suppose your physical interface is down, you will get it here. Double click on the fault. How many physical interface? These are the physical interface from node 202, 203, 101. Just double click on that. Okay, it's a critical. Okay, it's showing critical. The moment you double click, it will show the information. What changes occurred here? Look here. New what? If you have anyone has changed anything, it will show here. What new changes has been done here? What is the timing? Okay, what is the critical severity level? What is the affected topology here? Okay, when was last date
Mhm.
it raised that? What is the description of the port? If you go going for the troubleshooting, it will give you the even the bunch of the steps here. Okay, so this might is the causing problem. If this is not the solution, if you have done everything whatever Cisco has mentioned here in the troubleshooting section, you go ahead with the Cisco tag here now.
Mhm.
Okay, this is actually pretty much easy for easy life for the operation guys, right? You are getting all the information,
Yes.
even the troubleshooting steps you are getting. Who give that? If you're going for the history here, if you'll check here, look here. This switch has a lot of history. Or this interface, particular interface, flap this much time here. Okay, it will give you when it flapped in the network 1/32. Just like your
Yes.
external, you can say ServiceNow or any DCNM tools or any Tetris or any third party monitoring tool, right? APIC itself is working as a monitoring tool
Yeah.
here, right? Even you can get that particular information here. Even you can download this information. Look here, you can download it here.
Mhm.
XML JSON. What was the error? If you can, let me show that. Only configuration. I will going to download in XML. If you go show open with even Node plus plus plus, or else you can go with the Atom, something we call it Atom, which is pretty much cool. Uh, let's see if I have Atom. So I do not have here, but Atom is a good tool where you can do that. Okay, this is something is showing weird in a one line, but I think you need to segregate it into the XML format. Okay, I'm
Okay.
not sure how to do it in the Notepad plus plus. Okay, but yeah, you can just get the information, all the criticals and the whatever it is. Okay, you can download it, same information.
Okay.
And this is the fault. This will not give you the changes accounting information, like who changed when, right? It will not give the information particularly. It will give you the alert configuration, alert
Okay.
kind of thing, right? For just like the
Mhm.
tools. If you're going for the zoning configuration, it is, suppose you have 10 switch, right? You want to dedicate 5 switch for the one service
Mhm.
provider as a hardware dedicated resource, a 5 switch for another service provider, right? You can configure the zoning here.
Yes.
Even the if you have two port, you can configure one port is for one service provider, another is port for another service provider, right? You can do it here. So it's gray out because I do not have admin access. Okay. Events again, it is the same kind of events. You can check that port events and all the details of the affected codes. This is just give me a second. It's loading that here. So these are the some bug ID, okay, or not even bug ID. I would say. Suppose you deleted something, right? One deleted you some one VLAN something kind of, right? So what particular topology is affected? You can get it from here. Look here. Action was deleted, right? So if someone change anything in your network, you can directly come to events or audit log. You can check it who deleted what, right?
Okay.
Even in audit log, you can check all the accounting information, just like your normal. You configure it in the non-Cisco product, right? Who created, what was the modified, what was particular path, what was the EPG, everything you can get it from here. You can it so that it's L3 out, right? This was the L3 out which was modified.
Yeah.
And if you want to get more path information, just click on this. It will give you the exact right path. It is taking time, but it will open. Yeah, look here. This was the configuration which was deleted. Okay. So this is the who was the user. You can get even the user, right? Transaction ID, and the action.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the basic information, which is very much even system tab is very much useful for any production guys, right? Operation day 2 guys or day 1 guys, because this is the makes the easy life for the any of the engineers. Do not need to log into multiple tools and get the
Okay.
information. Just one time log into APIC and get the all information, right? Quick start again. This is for the
Okay.
initialization configuration. Either you can do manually one by one, or either you can come here in the system tab and do the fabric initialization. Okay, this is just a basic. I will
Okay.
show that how initialization work here. Okay, and here after system, I will go and jump into the fabric tab here. Okay, in the fabric tab, we
Okay.
call it inventory. Inventory means topology, and all the physical device level information you will get it here. Okay. If you'll go in the topology here,
Okay.
it's a bit slow. Just give me a second. I'm not sure. Just let me refresh it. Waiting. Okay, so this is just a physical inventory label, right? Inventory information you will get it here. Even the discovery process you will get here, right? If you have look here, this is the topology. Sorry, let's go here. If I go here, yeah. So this was the alert. This is a normal one, right? This is a normal
Yes.
your information which we discussed earlier here. Then if we'll go for tenant, I am going to skip. If we'll go for the fabric tab here, fabric tab shows here topology here. If you have multi-port topology, it will give you this kind of information. Okay, this is a one-side device. This is another side device. Even though if you go for the summary, you will give you the summary information. If you go for the interface, it will give you the per device interface information. Okay, if you are checking a per port, what is the level is fine status? It will give you the leaf and spine topology here. Okay, if you go for the leaf here, look here. If you go click on the port one, you will get that this information. This is how your how many leaves, how many spines are connecting to this port. Okay, this is
Okay.
the port information. If you go for the normal chassis information, interface information, or process information. You can just, per device level, just like the system tab controller, right? In the controller, you get all the APIC information, right? But in the fabric tab, you get all the leaf and spine information, unlike the system tab. In system tab, you get the APIC information. What is the process, what is the protocols, what is the interface status, chassis status, process status, everything you get about the leaf and spine. Okay, if I go here, yeah. So if I click here in the topology, taking time, not sure. Okay, so this is the inventory tab which I was talking about, right? You get all the information about your leaf and spine physical information, or you can say inventory or physical level. Basically, I would say physical level information. If suppose one SP is missing, something is damaged in your leaf and spine, you can check that all the status from here. If I go for the fabric tab, in the fabric tab you have three tabs: inventory, fabric, and access. So fabric tab, here you configure the COPP policy or router factor policy, date and time information, and some SNMP information. This is for the leaf and spine configuration between fabric configuration. Okay, itself says fabric policy. It means this configuration going to apply for the leaf and spine globally. It is not specific for the particular
Okay.
spine or for particular leaf. Route refactor is specific for particular spine configuration, but not the these uh, other configuration. Okay, because ISIS run between leaf and spine. Even all the basic thing run in the leaf and spine. This was the fabric tab. Okay, if I go for the access tab is all about the uh, southbound interface of the leaf switches and spine switch uplink port. Suppose you're going for multi-port. I'm just not talking about multi-port as of now, so I'm not going to mention the spine here, but I'm going to mention here leaf switch here. Okay, if you want to configure the leaf
Okay.
port, not the uplink, but leave the southbound interface port where you have endpoint connection, where you have your firewall, load balancer, servers connected. So these kind of basic configuration you do from the access policy here. Okay.
Okay.
If you go here, let me walk through again what I was talking about. Here you can check here, right? I have here something called an interport device, which is 9K. You can use even 7K. There is some criteria which that particular device should support. I have a four leaf, one spine from one side, port one, and I have two controller in port one,
Mm-hmm.
two remote leaf, and port two to have two leaf switches, four leaf switch, one spine, and one controller. So overall controller, how many we have? Three controller, because we are running the multi-board. No, we are not running the multi-side here. Okay. Even you could check the interface
Okay.
information here. It might take time because it's relating to all the information. Okay, so global endpoint, it is not up. Yeah, look here. Even they give you the information of the endpoints, which port is learning what market, what endpoint here, for which tenant here.
Okay.
Okay, you will go for port here. Just you can get here the port represent one side. Okay, so in the one side I have here a chassis something. So this is the information. This is the serial number, all the things. Even you can get the interface status. In the interface status, you can check even whether is interface enabled or not. So look here. So these are the configuration. What is the status of the interfaces? You can check that this is a management interface. What is the status of the management interface? You can check the BPC interface if any BPC interface is there. Look here. If there is a fabric extension, so you get all the information right here.
Yes.
Just like your APIC system configuration, you get all the.
So it will show the complete one side all the spine and leaf switches interfaces.
Exactly. In port 1, if you have multi-site, you can check in the port 2 as well. In our scenario, we have 2 port, right? It will show that one site has this
Yes,
much device, second site have this much devices.
these many
Okay.
devices. Okay.
Yeah. And this is port fabric setup and fabric membership. If suppose in your production you want to add new device, right? You plug one leaf switches in the leaf spine switch, right? So how you gonna register it? You will come into
Yeah.
the inventory, come into the fabric membership. You will check
Hmm.
here the node ID. If any new switch is connected with the spine switch or in the fabric port, you will see their pending node here. Then you have to create the node here. Okay, and these are already registered node which I have here. Just you need to just you know put the port ID, node ID and number and the node types and IP address. It will automatically take from tab. Okay, so yeah, so this is the inventory information. If I go for the policy, fabric policy information here, so fabric policy is all about the your leaf and spine configuration. Okay, you just create the profile and policy group for the uh, COPP policy. If you have any, if you want to have route reflector policy, you can do that. If you have any ISIS modification like timers and all, you cannot do major changes. Okay, you can just play with the timers of the protocols. Okay, like MPVGP, you can play with the only timer. For the ISIS, you can play with the less like a timer. That's it. You cannot do much in that. Okay,
Hmm.
because it's pre-inbuilt in that. But yeah, you can configure the sorry. So you can do that SNMP configuration, like SNMP server. Like if anything happened between leaf and spine, just give me information into the external server, right? You can do these kind of things. But in the access policy, uh, this this is where actual things come. Okay, this I'm going to talk about the more in that. This is the actual point you need to understand. Once you understand access policy, you will easily understand the tenant here. Okay. So here you configure all the information of the leaf switches, leaf ports. Okay. If I go for the access policy here,
Okay.
so there is a access logical policy configuration and access policy configuration. Suppose suppose you have two leaf, right? Leaf
Hmm.
201, 202. This is the two leaf where you have one 37 catalyst devices, one EXXI is connected, right? And that EXXI has
Okay.
two VLAN, VLAN 100, VLAN 200, and these are two VLANs want to communicate here. Okay, but in ACI
Okay.
by default, what happened? Everything disabled. Unlike your other protocols, unlike your other devices in the production, you have something is called the LLDP enable. You do not need to do any bandwidth sync up, all the things, right? It get auto
Yes.
negotiate everything as per
Very
the
true.
neighbor configuration. But in ACI, you have to configure everything here. What will be the bandwidth for this interface? What will be the LLDP CDP protocol should be enabled or not? What will be the specific L2, L3 you want to enable it here? So these are all the information you have to under the policy. Okay, if you go under the interface,
Hmm.
so you will get that all the policy. So if you're going to use the below 4.2, you might see the some different your APIC GUI interface. Okay, this is
Okay.
4.0, so it has some uh, extra enhanced interface, I would say. So yeah, so these are the some configuration which you need to configure policy, which you need to create the policy. Look here, someone is created 10 gig. If you want to use this interface as a 10 gig, right, 1/2, you have to apply that particular policy under the 1/2 interface. So it will be 10 gig interface. If you are using 40 gig, you have to do 40 gig. If you are using 1 gig, you can do 1 gig. It is flexible. Your leaf and spines, leaf switches are flexible. Okay, you can do 1 to 40 gig interface. But now I think Cisco coming with the 100 gig interface as well. which you can use that. Okay, like CDP configuration, you have very much control on that. I suppose if I go for default, it will ask you for even ingress and egress configuration. If you're going to create, I do not have permission to create, but the moment you select, okay, let me show that. I think it's created. Okay, so if you go for LLDP here, so look here, want to enable LLDP process for the unidirectional or bidirectional. If you have bidirectional, you need to enable both the side. Okay, it means I should receive the packet, but I should also send the packet, LLDP packet. So this much control you have in ACI per interface level. Like this interface, suppose this interface part of the port channel, right? You have to create the policy. That
Yes.
policy, like what? Because in port channel you have multiple modes, right? You have LSCP, you have static mode, you have MAC pinning. These are the types which have in ACI supported. So we do not have PAGP kind of thing, which was Cisco property, but we have only LSCP and the static mode and the MAC pinning and static MAC pinning for the 2K devices if we have in that case. Okay, static mode on port channel. So these are the policy which we need to configure first, then we'll apply in the interface. Okay, like L2 interface policy.
Okay.
What if you have any COPP policy? What policy you want to apply in that? Okay, so these are the COPP policy you want to match the protocols, match the rate and burst time. Drop packet. What should be the maximum or minimum allow packet or allow particularly control plane packet for the interface. So these are the basic even for the DWDM, we have separate option here. If you have multi-site kind of configuration or if you have dual fabric kind of things, you have something called DWDM, okay? Dark fiber kind of things where you can connect it. Is this clear?
Yeah, 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 clear.
Okay. So yeah, this is the policy configuration, like how you create the VLANs. So VLANs will also you will create here, but in ACI you can create VLAN, VXLAN, even the vSAN you can create here. Even the multicast address, this is the address which you can create. Okay. So these are the small parameters which you can create it here. Okay. And even the physical domain.
VXLAN,
Uh-huh.
VXLAN will work automatically, right? It will be
So
enabled.
this is automatically for the fabric interface
Okay.
between leaf and spine. What if you want to run the suppose what if you want to run the VXLAN between this switch and leaf switches, right? Because we have something in a
Ah, okay, okay.
because in some in VMware environment we call it NSXT, or there is multiple hypervisor who does support the VXLAN, right? So end-to-end VXLAN you can do that. Okay. So if you have suppose FC
This is the
devices.
external VXLAN connectivity you're talking about.
Exactly, exactly. So we are not touching any VXLAN between leaf and spine. Definitely, we do not have any control on that. Okay. And this is all about the external access policy. Okay. Fabric policy is all about the internal between leaf and spine. Got it? Access policy is all about the external
Not the fabric
stuff,
one.
not the fabric one. Fabric one, leaf and spine,
Okay.
if you want to do anything, you have to go under the fabric policy. Okay. Or if there is two interfaces, let me draw it here. There is two interfaces, right, for per devices. This is suppose any leaf and spine. Any can be leaf and spine, right? Sorry.
Yes.
Suppose you have one leaf spine switch here, or leaf switch here, right? You have like this. Suppose you have a spine external connectivity, right? Here somewhere. Basically, we do not do until unless you have the golf requirement or a multi-port multi-site. Usually for multi-port multi-site spine connect for external, right? Not for the internet connectivity. If you want to have the internet connectivity, you always go for the leaf switches connection. Okay. Suppose you
For
have
multi-pod, we don't need it, right?
for the
Or multi-pod
multi-port
also is required.
spine switch provide the multi-port connectivity, not the leaf switches. Similarly, suppose this is one side, this is the other side, right? So this is your how multi-port connect here. This is how your multi-port connect. Okay, the multi-port or multi-site, same concept here. Connect for the connectivity purpose. You have one middle device, right? Where you configure the OSPF neighborship between this device, spine and this device, spine and this device, just to provide the underlay connectivity between two data center. This is the kind of DCI you can say device, right? Like DCI OTB you use or MPLS you use, right? If suppose
Yeah.
these two data center want to have the internet connectivity, right? So you need to connect here separate interface towards the internet device here. Spine never provide the internet connectivity. We have something called Golf, right? Same spine switch can act as a DCI switch as well as for the internet device. We have something called it, but usually Cisco recommend to use the external device for the internet. So I'm talking about these interfaces, okay? This
Okay.
interface configuration, this interface configuration, this interface configuration. This is the fabric policy. If I type here fabric policy, fabric policy. If I go for access policy, I would come here, access policy, okay? Access policy comes here.
Southbound interfaces of the leaves.
Exactly. Access policy also come here because this is the southbound interface for the spine. This is the northbound interface for the spine switch.
Yes.
Okay, so for spine switch, we also need access policy of for configuration, right? So for that, we configure the
What
access under the access
what
policy.
what routing protocol do we use on the IPN?
On the IPN, we use OSPF and multicast and DSCP relay.
Okay. Okay.
This is just the underlay connectivity. Okay, underlay connectivity you can because I believe that spine switches have only OSPF support and BGP configuration for the IPN devices. It doesn't support any other protocols like EIGRP and REAP and static route or other thing. Okay,
Okay.
and yeah, this is the access policy. This is the fabric policy. You got the difference here, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so this is what I was talking about here, and this VLAN also will be also associated with the access policy only. Okay, suppose your one VLAN. This is the interface going to use VLAN number 10 or 4, right? So you need to configure this VLAN under the access policy only. But between leaf and spine, you do not need
Okay.
any kind of configuration. You just need to configure the route reflector. So this will be the route reflector, RR, okay, in ACI,
Okay.
RR, route reflector. These are the clients. So and by default, there is no need to do any kind of redistribution between this device and this device. Suppose you have BGP running here, right? Suppose you have OSPF.
Okay.
And suppose you have here MPBGP EBPN, right? MPBGP
Mhm.
EBPN, right? Which is running. EBPN. So by default, what happened? This is we call it mutual redistribution, right? If any traffic comes, if any L3 out comes from here OSPF form, it will automatically
Mhm.
redistribute into the fabric here. You do not need to do redistribution between external OSPF and the internal here. So that redistribution take care by the route reflector here. Route refactor is the one who is responsible for all the kind of mutual redistribution. Okay, you got that
Okay,
point, right?
if we want to advertise some internal fabric routes to the external L3 out into OSPF,
Mhm.
that will also happen automatically.
No, that is not allowed.
Okay, that is not allowed. Now, when you are saying mutual redistribution, it means two-way, right? OSPF to BGP, BGP to OSPF.
No, this is mutual redistribution between from the outside to inside, not from inside to outside.
Okay,
If you want to do inside to
okay,
outside, you by default listen. By default, leaf and spine doesn't maintain any kind of routing for themselves, right? It maintains the endpoint table, right? If you suppose, if
yes,
suppose you have one endpoint right here connected. Suppose this endpoint want to communicate this router, right? This router. So why this endpoint by default should be by default? Why this endpoint should by default redistribute into the OSPF when you do not need this endpoint should communicate from outside, right? So that level control
yes,
we have in ACI. If you want, suppose this endpoint IP address want to communicate with this particular OSPF, you need to do manual redistribution here, or you need to allow it in different way, right? You can create multi route
mm,
map, you can add into the bridge domain, you can do manual redistribution. So we have some multiple option which we can do that. Okay.
okay.
So I would say it's a one way, okay, redistribution. I won't consider this. I would say this is the rate, so it won't be redistribute. Okay. So this is the mutual redistribution. Okay. If any protocols from outside to leaf and spine connected, automatically mutual redistribution happen even between the leaf and the spines sphere. Suppose you are running OSPF, any other protocols, this mutual redistribution will automatically happen. Okay, here you do not need to do
Now
anything.
this DCI router, there are some routes coming from here. RR will redistribute it mutually and advertise into the ACI fabric,
Exactly,
and but these routes will not go to this external L3 out, which is
exactly,
running the OSPF. So if we
exactly.
need to do that, what exactly we need to do? We need to enable some options under
Yes,
the
under
this
the layer
domain.
3 out, you need to
Uh-huh.
specify that particular route I want to distribute into the OSPF or external for the external network here.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the actually this is also the good thing, right? You are avoiding a lot of overhead, lot of work here, right? Because redistribution in the
Yes.
network,
Yes.
it creates a lot of huge routing table, right? And it gets a lot of confusion here.
Yes.
And this itself,
Yes.
avoiding a lot of complexity for the network engineer here. Because everything is, even VXLAN is automatically configured. Even though, let me show you what protocols it automatically configured. So there is a few protocols like VXLAN is your data plane, okay, which works. And MP,
Okay.
BGP, EBPN. EBPN means L2 extension for the VXLAN, okay. So data plane, VXLAN is L2 L2 network, right? So L2 over L3. EBPN is the one who is responsible for the uh, who is providing the scalability. I would not say responsible. It is providing the scalability for the VXLAN to uh, send your L2 traffic through the L3 over the L3 role plane. Okay, so these are the and the ISIS under.
VXLAN is L3, right? It's not L2.
No, it's just I would say it's a L2 and L3 both, but it's pure L2, right? So
Okay, in ACI fabric, it's acting as a L2 only.
yeah, exactly. You can configure L3 even like creating the SBI, right? VLAN logically it's L2, but you can create L3 SBI, right? Similar way here in VXLAN. It
Yes.
come with as a L2. We do not consider as a L3, but we can do L3 playing here, right? Because it send your traffic through over the, because in traditional network, what happened? OTP we configure for the L2 extension, right? In traditional network, here we have MPVGP VPN for the L2 extension. Now, who is the L2? VXLAN is the L2. L2 over L3. Okay, so these are the three protocols which runs.
What is the okay, now the VXLAN, let's go with VXLAN. The rule of the VXLAN here is what exactly? What VXLAN does?
Okay, so it provides the data path for the any endpoint. Suppose this particular endpoint want to communicate with this here endpoint one, another DC, right?
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
So what it create here? It creates a logical tunnel, VXLAN tunnel here, between this side to this side, and that tunnel forms based on the eBPN and MPBGP table here. Okay, so eBPN is the one who is responsible for the forming the tunnel here, VXLAN tunnel here to here. So we are just extending the L2 traffic here. We are not saying that VXLAN is doing a lot of things. VXLAN just providing the compatibility for eBPN. eBPN is responsible for the L2 BPN here, okay, between the two sides, and using the L3 MPBGP and ISIS protocols. And on L2 BPN, we are extending the VXLAN. So basically, what happened if suppose two switches even want to communicate here, they do not do any kind of extra things, right? They form just a eBPN or VXLAN. I would not say the VXLAN, eBPN tunnel here between the two edge devices, and it send your VXLAN traffic between the two devices. So VXLAN is just nothing, is playing with the just scalability here. Main work is MPBGP VPN and ISIS here, right? VXLAN just enabling the scalability for our leaf and spine. We can, rather than having the 4,000 VLAN, we are just enabling 16 million segment we have, right?
Okay.
It is not
So when we
playing too
create
much
the bridge domain, that is the VXLAN, right?
No. So there is a multiple VXLAN ID. So VXLAN ID is identical for creating the suppose EPG, that will act as a VXLAN ID. If you're creating the suppose BD, that will act as a VXLAN ID. So there is a separate segment. Since we have 6 million segment here, so each components get here you can say VXLAN ID to identification. We'll talk about on that, okay, no worry.
Okay.
We'll talk about VXLAN in depth in this case, because VXLAN understanding is important than your ACI. Because once you understand the VXLAN, ACI is the key. ACI is the nothing here, because VXLAN is the one who is playing here everything here. Okay,
Yes.
so underlay is your ISIS protocol, okay, and I would say this is a VXLAN is your overlay technology, okay. This is an overlay technology.
So VXLAN creating the overlay tunnel.
Yeah. So
between the
I would not say.
we can say.
I would not say
VXLAN.
VXLAN creating tunnel. I would say eBPN creating tunnel for VXLAN. Okay. That's why we are using eBPN. Otherwise, we can use normal BPN, right? Why only eBPN? Because it has capability to create the L2 tunnel. That's why we have Ethernet VPN, right? So your this is the and fourth protocol is COOP. Okay. COOP protocols between leaf and spine. Suppose this endpoint received this leaf received the one IP address from this endpoint, right? As a MAC address, as IP address, right? So who is responsible to update this MAC address to this RR device, right? And RR will replicate to these devices. So there is something called as COOP protocol. This is a control plane Oracle. I don't remember the full form. This is Oracle something kind of protocols, which is responsible to update your spine table. So COOP where who maintain the coup table here? Spine maintain the coup table. Okay. So always whenever any new entry comes to the this leaf switch always update to spine using the coup table here. Okay, how COOP communication happen, how ISS communication happen, how MPVGP VXLAN communication does work here. We'll talk about that in depth. Okay, just giving the overview of
Okay.
this wider picture of this flow here. How the tabs to tab communication happen, we'll talk about that. Okay, no worry about that. Just this is the overview. Okay, this is clear, right?
Okay.
So what
Yeah.
protocols we run? These are the default protocols. You do not need to touch anything here. We can do just some timing play and
Mhm.
some small thing we can play with these protocols. Like VXLAN ID, it automatically assign between the leaf and spine. You do not need to do anything, right? MPVG
Yeah.
VPN, you do not need to do anything except configuring the route refactor. Route refactor, what is the route refactor work? It increase the scalability of the network, right? Because you cannot because here we do not
Yes.
have full mesh right in the leaf and spine. Why we use route refactor to provide the full mesh?
Yes.
Simple concept, right? In the IBGP, since we have
Yes.
IBGP here we are in IBGP here, so we need someone to update the global, maintain the global table, right? Instead of suppose
Yes.
one host is coming here, and this we have 10 switches. If we flood to 10 all the 10 switches, that will be the network. That is not something we call it network scalability, right? That means one device should receive, that should be the master, and that device should send to one unicast to that particular device, right? So that's what we call it. The scalability point of view, route refactor is important, and also it maintains the global table for all the leaf switches. Okay, and there is also we call it avoiding the full mesh scenario, since we do not have full mesh scenario in the ACI, because there is no concept of connecting leaf to leaf and spine to spine, right? So we need someone to provide the leaf to leaf connectivity. Who will be that guy? Well, this is only for the external thing, okay, not for the internal. Suppose you have two hosts here, right?
This is the normal MPBGP.
Normal MPBGP,
Yes.
not much. Suppose you have two hosts, right? One is here, one is here. Not talking about outside. Let's remove it, okay? You have two hosts here.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they want to communicate with each other, you do not need route refactor. Without route refactor, it can communicate, right? Because route refactor mainly maintain the L3 configuration or L3 routing, right? Since it has a MPBGP, EBPN kernel, and ISIS, so based on this information, it can do the lookup and send the packet from within the fabric. Route refactor is needed when you have the external connectivity, right? For route distribution and all kind of routing lookup, you need that route refactor. Suppose outside guy want to communicate here. In that case, here it will come, it will go for the redistribution, it will go check for NLRI, then it will send to here. So this is how the flow works here. Route refactor is not mandatory if we do not have the uh, uh, external layer 3 out, right? Which is not recommended. You
Mhm.
must configure route refactor, but in case I'm talking about without even route refactor, you can communicate these two host, right? But for the external, you didn't because without a route refactor, who will be responsible to do route redistribution, right? Mutual redistribution. Route refactor only.
Yes.
And also one thing I just wanted to highlight here, and regarding the license, right? License is only for the leaf base. We do not have any license for spine. We do not have any license for the APIC policy manager. These license always
Okay.
based on the leaf switches. So leaf based license you always say, because all the services, whatever you run data plane services, those services are always run in the leaf switches, right?
Mhm.
So if you check here, look here, leaf model, everything is all about the leaf. So whatever license you're going to purchase, that particular license will be based on the leaf. For the leaf license, you will say, okay? There's no license need for the API controller and a spine, okay? Sorry, is that clear?
Yeah, understood. I have a question here.
Mhm.
The the end device, the
Mhm.
host, which is connected on this the first leaf, want to communicate with another host which is connected on another leaf. So this information will be passed by COOP
Yep.
COOP protocol. They will
Yep.
use COOP to communicate.
Sorry. So you mean to
Okay.
say this leaf to spine switch, right?
No, no, leaf to leaf.
Leaf to leaf
We
is
have
not
two
COOP.
hosts, right?
Leaf to leaf is not COOP.
Okay.
Leaf to leaf is VXLAN internal, EBP internal.
Okay.
So that will come, okay, per host how communication happen, what are the actual
Mhm.
tables will come in the point, okay, no worry about that. Okay, so yeah, for today I'm done actually. And from tomorrow I will go more in this flow. Okay, first what I will do, I will show you the flow, then I will go for the more detailing. Okay, how the loop, how the this endpoint communicate, first I will go and explain, then we'll go for individual flow and all. Okay, because wider picture
Mhm.
should be
Okay.
wider picture is important before going for the any for the configuration and all the things. Configuration is easy, just you need to understand the concept first, right?
Okay.
Okay, and then okay, for the day, and tomorrow I will connect you.
Okay. No problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.